Gore Vidal is here. At 84 years of age, he has witnessed 3/4 of the 20th century and 1/3 of the history of the United States. In that time, he's written 25 novels, over 200 essays, 8 plays, and countless movie and television scripts. His new book captures key moments from this historic life through photographs, letters, manuscripts, and other artifacts. It's called Gore Vidal, Snapshots in History's Glare. I am pleased to have him back at this table. Welcome.
Thank you, Charlie, and I'm welcome to glare at your table anytime you like.
Tell me the motivation about putting this together.
Well, it wasn't mine. I had a friend that I lived with for more than 50 years, and I never collect pictures or anything else about myself, anybody else, but he did. And suddenly, he had this great stack, always in need of dusting, and I said, what are you going to do with it? It's just, I use it, for kindling, light fires with. And he said, well, it might be worth doing one day. And it's a full record of your life, because I was being photographed as a child. And I flew an airplane at 10, and I was the most famous young boy in the country. So much so, to show you the pettiness of the literary world, which I think you enjoy knowing about from the outside.
Yes.
At 10, my father was Roosevelt's director of air commerce, and he ran civil aviation for the president's administration. My father was always trying to get a plane that was so simply put together that any kid, any idiot really, could fly it. And he got me out one Sunday in Washington. He was separated from my mother then, and said, you want to be a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. I wanted to be Mickey Rooney. Literally, I didn't care about the rest of it, but I liked that. I liked Midsummer Night's Dream. And parents, if you are trying to get children interested in reading Shakespeare, go out and get a copy of MGM's Midsummer Night's Dream with Mickey Rooney. I was enamored of Shakespeare at the end of it. Also, I saw that I could do what Mickey did, backwards. Didn't do it, but anyway.
Tell me about the pictures here.
Well, there I am. I think I'm about 9 or 10, and I'm on my first trip to Europe with a group of boys from the school that I was attending called St. Albans in Washington, D.C.
Still exists, still there.
Still there. And we ended up, first of all, for the summer, we were in Jouy-en-Josas, which is near Versailles, perfecting our French. Mine got worse and worse. And then we went down to Italy, and we were on the last train out of Italy before the border was sealed and the war had begun. So my mother, who was in with these various secretaries of state and so on, sent the word. We had Hamilton Fisher's grandson with us. We were all congressional children. So we were given a great order, either kill them on the spot, probably came out from some quarters, and the other was better get them out, they may be held for hostage. So we were sent up to the border between France and Italy, and all these guys in black shirts and chewing on garlic, and it was very exciting. But I thought, where's this story going? Because I was used to movies, and I was in the middle of a movie, and nobody had told me what the ending was. So we all sat around devising a nice ending for this thing. Well, we ended up in London in September 1939. And meanwhile, Hitler had marched into Poland, and we marched into the House of Commons. Just as Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister, entered the House, and we'd watched him get out of Downing Street, where there's a house for the Prime Minister, And I heard the strangest sound from a crowd that I have ever heard in my life. There were only about 50 people and 30 or 40 of us. And as he came out, he'd just come back from Germany, where he'd not done badly with Hitler.
This is when he got off the plane and waved the paper and said, I
have here in my
peace.
hand a document which is ensured peace, so on, so on, so
Had
on.
peace at hand or something.
Yeah. But the crowd knew different. They were Brits who'd lived through World War I, and they were not very happy about World War II.
Including Churchill.
Well, he wasn't in yet, but he was about to be in about 10 minutes in power. But the crowd didn't sigh, they didn't cheer, they moaned. Imagine 100 people doing that simultaneously.
Yeah.
Knocks you over. We went into the house, and the Prime Minister said, "War is at hand. We have done all that we could," and so on and so forth. We were then shipped out. A ship had just been sunk in the Irish Sea by the Germans, by the U-boats, and it was called the Athenia. And there was a sister ship called the Antonia. And while the people were still swimming away from the Athenia, there we were on the Antonia. They were loading us precious.
So they were
political children.
Yeah, they were swimming off the, and they were moving away from the Athena onto the boat that you were on.
No, they were onto longboats.
Right, lifeboats.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it was well, it was a little bit more movie than I wanted to see. Really, I didn't know how it was going to end.
You had your movie.
And there was no popcorn. We were told that chocolate was limited on the ship going home.
All right, I'm going to show these quickly, too, because I want to get to some current affairs. This is you and your dad?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather, who was blind, the senator
from the age of
Oklahoma.
10. He brought Oklahoma into the Union in 1907. He also was at the opening up the road from here of the Plaza Hotel.
Ah, the 3 blocks away. And you read to him?
I read to him all through my childhood, which seemed to last forever. And he had a library of some 14,000 books, which he rented the house while he had 6 years off when the voters rejected him in Oklahoma, because he was opposed to World War I. And he said there was no reason to fight that war, which most Americans came to believe that. We got nothing out of it, and there were a lot of people killed, which on both sides, which wasn't worthwhile. We weren't fighting Adolf Hitler then, and we weren't even fighting Bismarck. So he had, in his retirement, he built this beautiful house in Rock Creek Park, and nearby is the great cemetery which surrounds the park. And in the cemetery there is the monument that Henry Adams made for his wife when she died. She was a suicide. And Henry Adams, the great historian, fourth descendant from the great President Adams. And we dug a hole, and I'm at one end of the hole. Howard Austin, who collected the pictures here, is at the other end. And so it comes to pass.
You will be buried in Rock Creek Park.
I will be buried, and somewhere in the book here there's a picture of the tombstone.
Next to Howard?
Yeah, next to him.
Right. Have you planned your funeral?
Oh, silence. I have nothing to say about it.
You haven't thought about the in a Churchillian way. You haven't thought about the music and who will speak and...
Oh, no.
Do you think about death?
No more than anybody else does, which is quite a lot from what I can tell by TV ads. Everybody's trying to get a pill that'll postpone that terrible event.
Well, yes. But you haven't really thought about this. You haven't.
Yes, I know it's over, and I think really about time. 84 is not the beginning of a new page.
So you're ready.
I don't know if anybody's ready, but if there were anything up ahead,